Welcome to the Sixth Wheels Consulting Podcast, dialoguing disability and discussing difference, inclusion, and all abilities in today's world. Now here are your hosts, Matthew Shapiro and Bob Nolly.
Oh, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, you have found your way back. This is episode number 26 of the Sixth Wheels Consulting Disability Podcast. Hi, it's Bob, and here's my good buddy, Matthew Shapiro.
Bob Nolly, how are you, sir?
Thanks for asking. It makes me feel so good. I'm okay. How about you?
I'm doing great. It's good to hear your voice. It's been a little while.
Yeah, it's good. It feels good. This does feel good. Let's just keep talking like this for about 20 minutes and see how this goes.
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Oh, I've got to tell you. So, you're a football fan. We're both football fans.
Yes.
The Super Bowl.
That was a big dud, wasn't it?
Yeah. You know, I'm like in the minority. I thought it was a really good game, you know. Close game in question up till the end. What more could you want? So that's where I stand there.
Let me say this, Bob. If you enjoy what they call the good old defensive slobber knocker, then you were pretty happy. But yeah, it was pretty boring.
Okay, I don't know if we could say slobber knocker on the air. Let's not test the bounds. I'm sure we can. Yeah, that's fine. It's your show. What the heck? It's your show.
There you go.
So, the other thing, you've been up on. It's been that time of year. The General Assembly here in the Commonwealth of Virginia has been in session. So you've been busy, I imagine.
Yes. So, we've had some episodes in the till, and they've come out recently for us, but we haven't had any recent content here because I've been, as you said, I've been doing my lobbying work for this General Assembly session in our State House in Virginia, and it was quite the experience for our listeners who may be out of the Commonwealth, but also. I would be surprised, dare I say, living under a rock, because we were in national news for quite a while there, for about a 2 or 3 week period, where we had some run-ins for our leadership on the Democratic Party, and let me tell you, it was quite the experience being down there when all of that was going down. You know, it was. The tone and the attitude and would anything happen with the governor or the lieutenant governor and even the attorney general, it was a day-to-day question every day as to if something would happen. In addition to all that, we had some pretty significant legislative things that were debated on a regular basis, and it was interesting some of the outcomes that came from some of those debates. We were debating the Equal Rights Amendment, we were debating whether to raise minimum wage, and there was very much some political gamesmanship involved in a lot of those discussions.
Well, that's just the political nature of the beast. It's absolutely true. And to your first point about us being in the news so unfavorably,
yes.
I'm doing some work now with an agency that is in one of the buildings close by, right on the edge of Capitol Square. And, during the General Assembly session, the news vans are always there with their little dishes pointed skyward during their evening remotes from the when the General Assembly's in session all during those 4 weeks. But this time of year, the big boys were there. I mean, like CNN with huge satellite trucks all pointing skyward, and it was something to behold. But the reason for it wasn't that great. Sure,
and from a purely lobbying standpoint, we had an adventurous year. The organization I work for. Unfortunately, we were not able to get much of our legislation through this year, but we continued to establish strong relationships. I felt 1,000,000 times more comfortable down there in my second year than my first year, and I just figured I grew to love it even more. And I love the political experience. I love the process I love the legislative process. And it was fast paced. It was quick. For our listeners that don't know, Virginia is a unique state in the sense that in odd numbered years we do legislative session for 45 days, and then in even numbered years we do legislative session for 90 days. So this year we were in an odd number year, so that 45 days was a sprint, and the pace of it all, and the issues that we were covering, and the work that I got to do was super exciting, super fun. I'm glad I have some time off, to be honest. But lobbying is definitely probably one of my favorite things to do.
It's an exciting time, and once you understand what's happening and what you've been exposed to, and what the process is, I mean, you just touched the iceberg, tip of the iceberg right there. It is really quite interesting. And Virginia throws yet another wrinkle into it because our governor cannot be reelected. We're a single-term state. Correct.
So there was lots of talk about impeachment. There was lots of talk about succession planning. There was... I will say this: if you are a student and or just interested in the political system, spending time down at the General Assembly regularly is quite the educational experience. I was fortunate enough I had hired an assistant during session to help me with a lot of personal care issues and just my other clerical things and other things I needed assistance with. And I think that she gained a lot from the experience as well, just kind of being there by osmosis, so to speak. Because
so you want to give her a shout out?
Yeah. So Asia Pham was her name. She's fantastic. I think she enjoyed the process and learned a great deal. And she was great to work with, and I think she's going to continue to help me to do some stuff in the future, which is awesome, because that's also a growing experience for me to work with attendance and things like that. So not only was I having a learning experience from a lobbying standpoint, but just from a personal care standpoint and other things along those lines. So I think all in all, the lobbying experience was a good one. Like I said, I'm glad to have rest. This has been my first week back away from the General Assembly, and I got to tell you, it's been nice to be able to sit at home every day and get work done at my desk, because I haven't been able to do that for 6 weeks.
Wow. Yeah, so we talked about how busy it was. Were you down there every day?
I was down there 4 days a week. So basically,
well, that's enough. Wow.
Yeah, 4 days a week, probably from 9 to 4, 9 to 5. Depending on the day. There were some days there where I would leave a little bit early, but yeah, it's usually a 9 to 5 gig. I was putting in about 30 hours a week.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough as well. All right, so it's over. The session is done. What is the one thing you have taken away from that you feel a real sense of accomplishment about? The top of the pile. Yeah.
I would say just continuing to establish myself as a lobbyist down there. It's like I said before, I continue to feel comfortable. I continue to feel like people are beginning to recognize me. I feel like I'm on stronger footing when I go to lobby the legislators that I work with, and I'm just excited about the future and to continue to immerse myself kind of in that world and that environment is very exciting.
I got to tell you, well, I guess I should tell you, but I don't know if I should tell you on the air. I dropped your name a couple of times, and folks know who you are.
That's humbling, and I'm very appreciative of that.
All right, and I'm not going to. I know you say you're home now and you're able to get some rest and do a little recovery, as it were. But I don't know. I have a feeling. My wife and I get up in the morning. We get up like 5:30 or something, and one of us very often will say, "I got this song stuck in my head," and we'll just kind of hum it. And it's usually a rock song, but not classic rock, but just some little nugget from the crack. So this morning, it was me humming the Pretenders' "My City Was Gone," but actually the phrase everybody knows from that song, gee, I love that band, I really do, is "Going Back to Ohio."
Yes,
and darn if I'm not tracking you right, you did just go back to Ohio, did you not?
That was a perfect segue, Bob. You killed that segue, sir.
That's what I'm here for, dude. That's what I'm here for.
You just set it up, and we're gonna knock it.
Going back to Ohio. So have you been back to Ohio? Yes, you have.
So actually during session, I believe it was the first week in February, I was asked to go back to a school in Ohio called the University of Findlay, and speak at the University of Findlay. So they were actually my first big college program that I did almost 2 years ago, and they asked me back, and so this was me going back for a second time, and I did my program that's all about getting out of your comfort zone and trying new things, and it was a great speech. For those of our listeners that may follow me on social media, there's a number of pictures all over my Facebook page. I probably had close to 200 people in the audience, and they were laughing at all my corny jokes, which is always great, and they were a good audience. I was super happy to be back. It's always a super welcoming space. They're always so encouraging, and it feels very comfortable when I'm back at the University of Findlay. And so it was great. I got to be on a TV station interview before I did my big program. So
wow.
I got interviewed by the activities coordinator. And so she interviewed me all about all of my work and what I try to do with Six Wheels and my speaking and basically my all-around Swiss Army knife of a career that I have begun to build for myself. So she covered all of that for me. We had a really, really good conversation, and she's always been so supportive. So
did she talk about us? Did she ask you about us?
She did. We did talk about the podcast a little bit, and we promoted the podcast.
Hi, everybody at the University of Findlay. Glad you're dialing us in here.
Yes. We definitely covered the podcast, and we love Oiler Nation. They are the Oilers at the University of Findlay, so we love Oiler Nation.
Yeah, they got the little tower, the little oil rig tower in their logo there.
Yes, their logo is the oil rig tower. That's
okay.
Exactly
So you're getting invited back. See, that's the key thing.
Yeah,
it's tough to get a speaking invitation, but to get invited back, that you're, of course, no surprise, you're hitting all the right buttons there.
Well, I hope so, and I thought we had a good second presentation, so. Maybe in the future, University of Findlay will have me back, or if any other schools are listening and they're looking for a speaker, I have a wonderful catalog of different programs. I'd love to come to your K-12 school or your college. I speak in both markets, and would love to share some wonderful messages with your students.
Oh, that's great. So I'm looking at now, the way I saw all this, I didn't go to your webpage. I followed you through your mom. That's where the truth always comes out.
Yes,
because we may have said this on the air that your mom and I went to high school together. So yes. I'm looking at a picture now of you on stage. I see the one of you being interviewed. But the name of your speech, your title slide says, "Be your own wrecking ball. What will get you out of your chair?"
Yes.
So what's the message there?
So that's a really good question. So the
Thanks,
whole,
that's why I'm here. I keep you trust me on this. Okay.
You're just teeing me up for great questions. So the whole point of that program is I use my story and my background of growing up as somebody with a disability, and I do a lot of disability etiquette within that program. I do, a little bit about my background and my story and how I was born 12 weeks premature and had to, go through physical therapy and spend many hours not really wanting to get out of my comfort zone. Which in that program, I talk about how my wheelchair quickly became my comfort zone because I was unwilling to have people help me transfer and get out of my comfort zone to try new things. And so I try to use my story as a jumping off point to challenge my audiences. What is their chair? What is their thing that's holding them back from being the best version of themselves that they can be? And I use some strategies that I call my Mattitudes in order to give them some takeaway points that they might be able to utilize so that they too can kind of become their own wrecking ball and sort of help to mold the best version of themselves that they want to be. So
the Mattitude. Somebody's dropped some marketing sauce in your life, I got to tell you. So
yes.
Give us an example of what a Mattitude is.
So a Mattitude is something. One of my Mattitudes is embrace your vulnerability. And so, we all have a really hard time in many instances, like being vulnerable and going out on a limb and telling somebody that we have feelings for them or trying to join that club or do that activity that you've never wanted to do because you've been so scared. But if somebody is, willing to embrace being vulnerable and embrace those vulnerable situations, the rewards and the outcomes are tremendous because you might learn a new skill or you might find out that somebody has feelings for you also, and you might have this wonderful new relationship, or you might just gain this whole new experience. So embracing vulnerable situations and embracing your vulnerability is one way that you can strive to get out of your comfort zone.
I'm going to let that be the last word. That was excellent. But I am going to do a little tease right now before we wrap this up. We're going to the movies the next time we talk.
Yes.
So, we're not going to go see the new Mary Poppins either. And it was just Oscar night, but, I didn't hear this movie mentioned at all. But this is a good one. We got a good one coming up.
If I may.
It's your show.
Since the last time we spoke, sir, I believe someone had a birthday.
Yeah, they just come through once a year. That's all right.
Yeah, so I just want to wish you a happy belated birthday.
Thank you very much. That's very gracious.
Happy birthday from the Six Wheels podcast.
Thank you very much. That's very kind. That's very
Yes.
kind. Thank you so much. I keep trying to stack them up. I'm just trying to stack them up.
Well, you're doing a great job.
The alternative is much worse. Oh, that's just terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to episode 26 of the Six Wheels Consulting Disability Podcast. Keep rolling forward, think inclusion.
Yes.
For my buddy Matthew Shapiro, this is Bob Nolly. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody.